Hello everyone, Snow here, and today I'm gonna be talking about the new KvK format, which is Siege of Orleans. I'm from Kingdom 1071 and we are going to be one of the first kingdoms to ever play this new format. As you see, we are registered and now ready to play it. Today I'm gonna tell you a bit about how much we know, because we've got some rules here. We also saw a new video by Lilith with official information how this looks. So maybe let's start with the rules we are given here. We have information about auxiliary skills, which I will talk about later. We also have information about a few changes in this KvK, which will be very special, especially on the PvE environment here, so player versus environment. So we will not have barbarians like usual, but this will be English soldiers, mottes instead of barbarian forts, and many others. There is also gonna be Siege of Orleans, so we will not have Ziggurat, but we will have Orleans, and there will be a special event where you have to defend this building against English men. This, however, I don't find particularly exciting, because I think it's gonna be more or less something like protect their supplies. Of course, they tell us to use different formations, but I think it's gonna go down to bring as many marches as possible, do the event and get the rewards, which, by the way, don't look super cool. What we also have is a new map with 6 camps and really fancy names like Brittany, Picard. Yeah, so these are not the names we are used to. I suppose people are going to use colors instead of those names, because some of them are pretty hard to pronounce, especially for some nations. The map is quite similar to the map of Strife of 8, just with 6 camps. So you've got Zone 5, Zone 6, and then you've got the Kingsland, which is the zone with the Orleans. And now about the most exciting part of this new system, so auxiliary skills. As you see, each commander you own will be able to apply new free auxiliary skills. And this is very similar to what we have in Heroic Anthem, but there is a huge difference. First, you can apply free auxiliary skills, not two. And the second part is you can use any auxiliary skill of any commander you own, which will probably make some of your marches incredibly overpowering other. Why is that? It's because in Heroic Anthem usually we don't have the very strong auxiliary skills. So for example, you don't have in Heroic Anthem, you don't have Bastions of Bodica or Bastions of Nevsky where you can use some skills. And even if we have new commanders, usually these are not like the strongest of their passive skills. Here you can practically use anything. So I can use Bodica and apply to her some skills from Gilgamesh, anything I like, from Ramses, from Henry, whatever. I can use Nevsky and I can use some of Joan's skills, some of William's skills and XY skills. And the same, of course, goes for infantry, which, as I said, will create extremely strong marches. To make those auxiliary skills, you will have to use writs, which we are said that will be given 80 per hour, so it gives us more or less 2000 a day, which is also very good information, because we are shown that we just need 1000 to apply one auxiliary skill on one commander. So I think we should be able to use 3 auxiliary skills on every march we use, which will make those marches really, really strong. And for that reason, I think for young kingdoms, this is going to be a really bad idea to join this KvK. I think this is particularly great KvK for older kingdoms. For people like, for example, me. As you see, I've got many commanders and I've got many commanders, legendary commanders, expertise. So I cannot fit them all in my 5 marches. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use my 5 marches and apply all the other skills of the commanders I don't use. Okay, so this is easy for me because I'm a very old player. So I have many commanders from the tavern, for example, or just the older commanders from previous generations, which I just don't use anymore. Compared to the young players who have maybe 2, 3, or 4 legendary commanders and they don't have maxed tavern commanders, this is going to be super tough for them if we are getting matched, for example, with a very young kingdom. So very important information is also, if you apply an auxiliary skill of a certain commander, you cannot use him in the field. So he stays at home if you use his auxiliary skill. For example, if I use Bodica and I apply Gilgamesh, for example, second skill, which gives me health and damage bonus, I cannot use Gilgamesh in the field anymore. Yeah, so he stays in the city. So I think the way to go is to just use your best commanders, and from the commanders you don't normally use the auxiliary skills. But as I said, as an old player, I have plenty of options of that. For example, I've got Edward, whose second skill is really good. I'm not using Edward, but I'm definitely using his auxiliary skill. Same, for example, with Charles Martel and his second skill. The second skill of Alex, which I'm also not using because I'm using Guan and CPU Prime, is also super strong. Actually, all the auxiliary skills from Alex I can use, they're all very strong. Even that from the commanders from the tavern, yeah, I can use, for example, Mehmet, second skill, and from some commanders we usually don't think as big field commanders, yeah, so you can even use this skill from Zenobia, the third skill, and many others. Even Julius Caesar second skill is really good, thinking about auxiliary skills. So one more time, as I said, I think for the older kingdoms, this is going to be a really cool KvK. This is going to be a KvK where you can kind of use the old commanders you are not using anymore. And for younger kingdoms, this should be really like a nightmare. I think, of course, with the KvK, it's always about management, it's about the kingdom health and about the numbers you bring to the game. But I think if you make a duel between 20 older players and 20 players who just entered the first KvK season of Conquest, and you can apply those skills, this is not gonna be a duel, it would just be a slaughterhouse. So I think this new KvK format is really promoting all the kingdoms and all the players. I don't know if you agree with me. If you have some comments, please share them. This is one of my first videos in English, so I usually make videos in Polish, so I'll have a special playlist in English if you're interested to see how does KvK actually works. Please leave a like and subscribe so you will explore with me the Siege of Orleans. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Goodbye.